Hi, I'm Sarah and I am a nurse, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to administer Depo subcutaneously. Um, you can hear subcutaneous also be referred to as sub-Q. It's just an easier and shorter way of saying it. You'll probably hear me say that term more often than subcutaneous. And then Depo can also be referred to as Depo or medroxyprogesterone. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the supplies that you're going to need today. You're going to need your alcohol wipes, your syringe. I'm using a 3 milliliter syringe today. Your needle. I'm using a 25 gauge 5/8 inch needle. Your medicine and a Band-Aid. And that's it. So subcutaneous Depo can be given to you from the pharmacy in a couple of ways. Most of the time it's pretty much going to come in a syringe already drawn up. So what you'll have is you have your syringe and your needle already connected, the medicine already in it, and it's just pretty much ready for you to go. If that's the case, it's fine. You can keep watching or skip forward until you get to the part of me actually cleaning and then actually administering. Just make sure that you see all the parts that are necessary. So I kind of recommend you stick around and just watch all of it just to make sure that you don't miss anything or any helpful tips and tricks. It can also possibly come in like a pin form, so you just kind of like line up the end with your skin and you push a button and it auto injects, kind of like other medicines out there. But today I am using a vial that I have to draw the medicine up in. Your fluid might also look different from mine because mine is not actually Depo, it is normal saline, so it's relatively clear. So, like I said, it can be put in your belly or your thigh. I'm going to put it in my thigh. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you where I am going to be working with. This is my thigh. So a good rule of thumb is to take your hand, place it on your thigh, and wherever my hand is touching, that's where you want to clean. You want to clean that big of an area because then you know that no matter where you put that needle, it's going into a clean section. If you were to just clean this teeny tiny part, then when you go to administer the medication, you might miss that spot. And so the more clean area, the safer it is. You know you're not going to miss the clean spot when you go to administer it. Now, if you're anything like me and you have some crazy bangs that might be getting in your face that you might want to touch in any of this process, then you might want to pull that back. Or if you have long hair, just pull it back. If I pull my hair up, my bangs will still be in my face, so I'm just going to clip back my bangs here really fast. And now that I've done that, and I know I hopefully shouldn't be touching anything dirty anymore, you should wash your hands. I washed my hands prior to this video to get most of the dirt and grime off of it that might have accumulated throughout the day, but I'm not going to bring my camera into a sink, echoey room or anything like that. It just seems like a whole lot of work. But I have hand sanitizer, so I'm going to go ahead and spray that. And I'm just going to make sure that I spread this around to every finger, all of the crevices here in my hands. And that just all of it's covered and clean. And then what you'll do is you'll go ahead and open your alcohol swab. Now, from here on out, I'm going to try my best to use my right hand as a dirty hand to touch my camera and my left hand as the clean hand to touch the area. If I mess up, I can always re-wash my hands, or in my case, hand sanitize my hands, and it's not a big deal. But it is important to know that you want to try to keep your hands clean and not touch anything dirty. So, if you look at my thigh, let's see, move that out of the way. Look at my thigh, you're going to go ahead and clean, like I said, where the hand touches. And you're going to start in the middle, and you're just going to make small circular motions outward. So that way, you don't cross-contaminate and bring dirtiness into the clean spot. So if you see people, or if you were to do this yourself, where you just take the alcohol wipe and you go back and forth, you're gonna be just taking the dirt and bacteria and you're just spreading it around at that point. But if you start in the middle and you work your way out, you're only going to take this into dirty spots. You're never going to go back over a clean spot. So that's the best way to clean things. I almost touched the camera with my good hand, but I didn't. Okay. Sorry for the wiggle. Now you're going to take your syringe. You're going to go ahead and open it. And you're going to do your best to not touch this end, because that's the part that connects to your needle. I have an itch on my nose. Now you have the choice of touching your nose or using another body part that's not going to be touching any of this process. So I use my arm. Then you're going to take your needle and you're going to open it. There's really only one way to open these things. You can't really grab the other end to open it very easily. So you're not going to open it wrong. Again, I'm not going to touch this end because this is the part that connects to the syringe. If you see, I have two circles here, one circle here. So this one circle is going to go in between these two circles, like so. I'm going to twist like a bottle cap until it can't twist anymore. And now you have it all connected. Now, like I said, if yours came pre-prepared, then yours looks like mine with medicine already in it. So again, you don't have to worry about this drawing up process either, but if you do, stick around. So mine is a pre-used vial. I'm filming a couple of videos today, and so I'm just using the same vial, and I'm putting there's a whole bunch of normal saline in here. So my cap on here is actually not connected, but if yours is connected, you just go ahead and flip it off. Now, because my cap's not connected and because I have used this vial a couple times, I'm gonna have to clean it off. If you flipped your cap off and accidentally touched the top of it, again, no big deal. You just clean it off like I'm doing. And you'll do that with an alcohol swab or wipe, and you'll just want to clean it really vigorously. And while you're doing this, just make sure that the only thing touching it is the alcohol swab, not your fingers. Now, if you're going to have to draw up this fluid, you're going to need to know a couple things. On my syringe, you can see here that there are short lines and long lines. The long lines are for halfway points, so you can see I have a 0.5 milliliter, 1 milliliter, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. Those are the long lines. The little lines are 0.1 milliliter, and I just touched my face, so I'm gonna have to hand sanitize. But we can keep going with the video for now. So you have this 0.5 or 0.5 milliliter here. This one is 0.4, and then you go up and you have 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, and then this other big one all the way up here, that's 0. So don't count that if you're having to measure things out. Also, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my plunger here a little bit, and you can see here it usually picks up well on my red shirt, but let's bring it closer. There we go. I'll just hand sanitize again, so it doesn't matter. You can see here that there's a kind of like a hill on the top of my plunger. So you don't want to measure to this top part of the hill. You want to measure to the bottom part, this flat section. So put the plunger back in here. And let's see if you can see here, I am going to bring it to this 1 milliliter line here, and it's the actual flat part. The hill's up here, probably at about like 0.8, 0.9, and so you don't want to measure at the top of the hill, you want to measure down below. So I'm going to go ahead and hand sanitize really fast. Okay, now again, if you're drawing up this fluid, you're going to want to draw up air. That air will cause pressure in the vial and it'll make it 10 times easier for you to actually draw up the medication. So, I'm not sure how much is left in here, but it's probably not gonna, I don't know how much sub-Q Depo is. So if you have to draw up 1 milliliter, you bring it to the 1 milliliter. If it's 0.5, you do 0.5. If it's 1.8, obviously you bring it to the 1.8. If you know how to count lines, you should be good. For the purpose of this video, I know that there's at least 0.5 milliliters or a half a milliliter in this vial, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna pull my plunger to the half a milliliter mark. It's hard to see because the black plunger and the black numbers kind of just blend together, but I swear it's there. So now I'm gonna take my cap off. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into my vial. And real quick, sorry. You're gonna wanna put the needle in the dark center part that's squishy and the needle can actually go through it. The other part is hard. You don't have to put it in the dead center, just make sure it goes into the darker section. Now you're going to push the air in, and like I said, that will cause pressure in here. So you'll see when I tip my vial over to have it be on top like this, and I take my hand away, you can kind of see that it's already moving, like it's already trying to suck something up, and that's because of the pressure that's inside of here. However, my needle is above the fluid, so it sucked up mostly air. And if that happens, no big deal. You're just gonna push it back. You're gonna bring your needle out a little bit. And then you're going to draw up the amount that you need. You can also draw up a little extra just to make sure. And then what you would do is you just tap this syringe to make sure all the air is at the top, and then you can push the extra medicine back in there, and then you know that you have, again, you might not be able to tell, but I am at the half a milliliter mark. And then you go ahead and flip it right back up and you take it out. Now if you're having to drop every last drop of what's in here, that can be a little tricky, because if you leave it like this, you might not get everything and your needle might fall out, who knows. So what I usually do is I tilt my vial like this, and then I also tilt my needle like this, so that way, let's see if I can get that focus. You see here how it's, now when it gets to a little bit, there's a puddle down here, and my needle, you can see it kind of wiggling down there. It's in that puddle and it's going to suck up every last drop now, but I'm only going to do the 0.5. So I'm going to take my needle out. I'm going to go ahead and recap. Now if you're going to recap your needle, you want to make sure that you don't touch the end of this. Like, you don't want to be holding it like this or anything, because when you put it on, you might put it on a little too hard, too fast or something, and this plastic cap can splinter and bust. This needle can come through the end of the cap, and then you can stab your finger, and that's not fun. Now I'm recapping my needle because I want to take my Band-Aid out of its wrapper, so that way I have it ready to go for when I need it. And I'm just gonna take it out. I'm gonna leave this back end on, so that way it stays clean, and I'm just gonna put it on my table. Okay, so now I'm gonna move my camera. And again, I didn't touch anything with this hand, and that's the hand that's going to be touching my thigh here. So I'm gonna take my clean hand and I'm gonna pinch my thigh. I'm gonna actually recap my needle first. Take my cap off, and I'm gonna pinch my thigh. That way, it brings all the fat up to the surface, and that pinch you can kind of feel it, and it kind of takes away some of the pain of the actual needle going into your skin. So you're gonna pinch this fat here, and then I'm gonna take my needle and I'm just gonna go straight in. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And then I'm just going to push that medicine in. And then I'm gonna let go of my leg, because if you keep it squeezed, sometimes it can kind of push some of the medicine out. You're gonna take that needle out. I'm going to go ahead and recap off screen so that way I can go ahead and put my Band-Aid on. And you want to make sure not to touch the white part of this Band-Aid, because then it defeats the whole purpose of putting a Band-Aid on, because then it's dirty. Now once you're done, you're probably wondering what to do with this bad boy. A good way to dispose of these is by using a old laundry detergent jug, or a gallon of milk carton, or even a spaghetti sauce jar, or anything that you know this needle is not going to be able to puncture through very easily. Because while you're handling the trash, or the trash employees are handling the trash, what you really don't want is this needle to poke through the bag and then poke somebody else. That's not fun. So that's the best way to dispose of it. And if this is something that you're doing regularly at home, you can just keep that jug at home, fill it up, and dispose of it. You can also bring it to a clinic and we can dispose of it for you. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video educational and enjoyed it. Bye.